We are just days away from set 2 cards becoming unusable, and I wanted to go over what I think is the smartest strategy when it comes to deciding whether to sell some of these cards, whether to hold others. So these are decisions that you guys should be making really as soon as possible, because some of these decisions could make you guys lots of stubs, and if you wait too long, the market's going to adjust and shift around as people realize that their set 2 cards will soon become unusable, and you just could be missing out on some really good opportunities. And make sure to leave a like down below, and with Season 4 right around the corner, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate that a lot. But let's go ahead and get into the video here, and there's one thing I want to touch on before we go and talk about all these set 2 cards, right? And the big thing here is we need to know what happened to set 1 cards once they became unusable, right? And to see whether these prices went up or down or stayed the same. And it's interesting because as Season 2 is ending, and, just when I was thinking about whether set 1 cards would go up or down in value once they became unusable, I kind of just assumed that these cards would tank for the most part. And while some set 1 cards did tank or go down in value, a lot of them actually went up in value, which is really interesting. And now what I want to do is basically dive a little bit deeper into what happens specifically with some of these set 1 cards, and then go over what I think is going to happen to similar set 2 cards. So if that doesn't make sense, it will in a second, because basically what I mean is starting off by looking at the set 1 XP reward path boss cards that we got. So we got the Bob Gibson, the Lindor. A lot of these guys are, sitting around like 25 to 30K that you can sell them for, right? So that's, keep that in mind, because we're also going to go over the set 2 cards, the set 2 XP reward path bosses, and see what the price they're at now, and see what I think is going to happen to them. So if we go on over to set 2, so we know that there was Josh Donaldson, right? And he is going for, you could pick him up for like 18,000 or so. There also is Mariano Rivera, and he is another XP boss, and you could actually pick him up for 15K if you put in a buy order. So pretty cheap right there, considering what the set 1 cards were looking like. Sizemore right here, another one. You could probably pick them up for 12K. So you guys can kind of see, some of these guys, you could be putting in buy orders for 12, 13, 14K. And I think it's going to be pretty similar to the set 1 cards, where they're going to settle at maybe 25 to 30K that you could go ahead and sell them for. And if that's the case, you're doubling in stubs, right? So I think with these XP bosses, it makes sense to hold on to them and not just like panic sell, because I think these cards will eventually start to go up. Another really important thing to touch on are the Diamond Duo players, because we get a ton of them. So if we're looking at some of the set 1 Diamond Duo players here, one of them, a good example, is Luis Severino, and just take a look at his price here. His price is at, you could sell him for nearly 50K, and you can see his price actually peaks like crazy at certain times, is right now again. And then, let's take a look at some of these others. We got Rod Carew. For whatever reason, Rod Carew, his price is going up like crazy today, so you could sell him for 70K, but it'll probably go back down a little bit, right? Come back down to what like Severino's at. And then we also have Ralph Kiner, who again, you could sell for like 43K, and his price has kind of stayed steady. So a lot of these cards, Diamond Duo cards, you could go ahead and sell from set 1 for like 45, 50K. And if we compare this to what the Diamond Duo cards from set 2 are at, we look at Paxton, you could buy this man for 12K. We look at, who else? Smoltz right here. You could buy this guy for 16K. And then Prince Fielder, a little more expensive, but really not bad in comparison to the set 1 cards. And if we think about why this is, why the set 1 cards are so much more, the Diamond Duo ones, so much more expensive than these ones, is because once set 1 cards became unusable, we never got Diamond Duo packs for those set 1 cards again. So it basically shut off pretty much all ways of obtaining those players, which means the price on those cards just kept going up, up, and up. And that means soon these set 2 cards, the set 2 Diamond Duo cards, are soon we're not going to be able to obtain those guys anymore, get those packs, get those players. And so I just think holding on to those ones, it makes sense those prices are going up because we're just not able to obtain them. So I think holding is probably the smart decision for now. And just to clarify something from that last part, when I said we never got these Diamond Duo packs again, I just meant there were no other ways of basically grinding to obtain these packs anymore once they became unusable. Hope that makes sense. But then moving on to chase pack players from set 1. So we looked at Tatis, we're looking at Ohtani. These cards absolutely tanked in value over time. So if we look at the set 2 chase pack players, right? So we have Joe Mauer, who's gone down, I mean, half of what he was a week or two ago, whatever, a week or so ago. And yeah, he's absolutely tanked in value. So I don't know. It wouldn't be a bad idea to sell him because I do think he's probably going to keep going down a little bit, or you can see if there's a little bit of a bounce in price, see if he recovers a little bit, then sell him. The same with Mickey Mantle right here. He is going down and down and down. He's gone down probably almost double, right? Not nearly double, but almost double what he was at just a couple weeks ago. So again, I think this is a really good price to sell Mickey Mantle at if you're still getting 270K for him, right? So that's a lot, and I would probably just sell him because I think he's going to keep going down slowly and slowly like those other set 1 chase pack players did. And keep this in mind for set 3 chase pack players too. If you have one of the newer ones and you aren't really using them much, it might not be a bad idea to sell if you just aren't going to use them a ton, because all of them will likely just keep going down and down and down, probably until like, I don't know, season 5 or 6, and then it might go back up in value, but I think those could fall down in price, but up to you guys. Up to you guys at the end of the day. All of this is up to you to see what you want to do, what you're comfortable with, and go ahead and do that. So at the end of the day, what I would do, I think, is probably just hold on to the cheaper set 2 cards, and you could actually invest in some. That might not be a bad idea, potentially a good stub making opportunity, because like we saw with a lot of the set 1 cards that were a little bit cheaper, they went back up in value, like we looked at. The Luis Severino, Rod Carew, Ralph Kiner, the Diamond Duo players, and then also to a smaller degree, the XP Boss cards are pretty much like double what they're at now. So yeah, not a bad idea. You could invest in some of these if you want, especially if you have stubs. Why not invest in them, right? That's what I would probably do, especially like the Diamond Duo players. Just buy up all the Diamond Duo players, and even a couple of them you could buy, maybe 10 of them or something, and just see if they double in price, because if they do, that's going to be a major you're just going to make a ton of stubs off of that investment, right? But if you are holding some expensive set 2 cards and you want some stubs, and those cards are maybe going for like 150K, 100K, whatever it is, you could probably sell those off and take the stubs, because again, if we think about some of the, like Verlander here, right? Look at his price, just absolutely has gone down and down and down and down, quite a bit down from what he was just a few weeks ago, and really what he's been this entire time he's been out. Same with Mickey Mantle. All of these expensive cards, if we just think about some of the expensive set 1 cards, looking what's been happening with some of these expensive set 2 cards just going down, I still think it's probably a good time to just sell off some of these cards for the most part. The very expensive cards, I think, will just keep losing value, the set 2 ones. So I think taking your stubs in this case isn't a bad idea, at least in my opinion. So that's what my approach would be, and I think just based off of what happened with set 1 cards, what I think is likely to happen with set 2 cards, I just think this makes the most sense. It's probably the smartest way to approach it, but if you guys have any questions, leave those down below. Or if you disagree with me, go ahead and comment those down below too. Otherwise, that's going to be it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.